Come on in, everyone. Come on in because we are here to talk about Married at First Sight. We are on season 9 and we are on episode 5, y'all. I know they dropped 4 new episodes, but I'm only on episode 5, so you don't need to spoil it or say nothing down in the comments past episode 5 because I'm not going to even know what y'all talking about. But let me tell you, right now I'm on episode 5, and what I got to say about Miss RHONDA is she's selfish. Y'all, Miss RHONDA is selfish. I don't like what I'm seeing with Miss RHONDA. I'm telling you, my antennas were up from the very beginning with Miss RHONDA because I learned about Miss RHONDA through her kids. That's how I learned. That's how I learned about Miss RHONDA, through her children, people who've known her a long time, and how do those people react around her. And like I said before, they shrink around her. They give her the floor. And then we saw Miss RHONDA at that dance floor running around in that bright red dress with no shoes on, jumping in the pool with her wedding dress on, and then telling her husband, Pat, you need to be quiet so I can talk. I need to talk. I need a mic. RHONDA, start a YouTube channel like all the rest of us folks who like to sit up and talk. Go start a YouTube channel. But I'm going to tell you this. RHONDA got on this honeymoon, and now she's out there going bike riding with Brittany and Will. First of all, is this like mother-daughter? Because the age gap between Brittany and Will and RHONDA and Pat is large. Now, ordinarily, I say maybe this is good. Maybe Will and Brittany, who obviously need a little bit of growing up, a little bit of coaching, maybe they could get some wisdom imparted upon them through this older couple, RHONDA and Pat. But let me tell you, RHONDA got on that double date on the bikes and acted like a 20-year-old. RHONDA got on this double date, pulled Brittany aside, and started talking about her husband, saying that last marriage he was in really effed him up. And he's so sensitive and insecure, and I don't want no insecure man. What, RHONDA? Why are you telling this to Brittany? Why are you throwing your husband under the bus? And let me tell you something, RHONDA. You think your husband's effed up. You're effed up. You got a lot of problems. RHONDA is selfish. The fact that she threw her husband under the bus like that to Brittany and started talking about that man like that in front of Brittany, who she barely knows, that's a selfish move. That's a move where all you talking about is yourself. And later on, as we go through, I want y'all to start paying attention. I want you to start paying attention to all the moments where all RHONDA does is talk about herself. Even when they had their little mixology class, what did RHONDA say? Yours looks better than mine. Me. That's all she's talking about. And then later on, she decides, let me sit down and lecture Pat one more time. And she starts saying how she must have said it to Pat's face that because Pat was in a relationship, say just over, 6 months ago? So he basically got out of a relationship 6 months ago that he was in for 3 months. And here's the thing, RHONDA. No one is saying that you couldn't look at that and say, I sure hope this man is on a rebound situation. I mean, RHONDA, most people would think that. Most people would say, oh, wow, you just got out of a 3-year relationship 6 months ago. I sure hope that this isn't a rebound situation. But here's the problem with RHONDA. RHONDA doesn't phrase it in the form of a question. RHONDA doesn't even phrase it in the form of expressing her fear, her concern. She doesn't even go to Pat and say, hey, what I'm feeling a little bit uneasy about is I just want to make sure that I'm not a rebound. That's what you should do, RHONDA. But instead of what RHONDA did was she came out with judgment, judging him, summing him up, telling him what's wrong with him. And that's not the way you do it. First, you need to ask some questions, RHONDA. And then Pat told her, I felt really judged by you. And in the end, RHONDA came back and told him, well, it wasn't you, it was me. Well, then apologize. Apologize. See, RHONDA came back and started talking about how, well, it really wasn't you, it was me. But I didn't hear no apology, RHONDA. I didn't hear you say you were sorry. Once again, I heard you telling Pat, everything he needs to do differently. But what are you doing differently, Rhonda? That's what I'm saying. Rhonda's so self-focused. She's always focused on her feelings, her emotions, how she feels. She doesn't give room in a conversation, in a moment, to once consider the feelings of someone else. She's self-focused. She thinks of herself first, her feelings first. She disregards maybe what you're thinking or what you're feeling, and then she comes to conclusions. And then she judges you, and then she tells you what you need to do. No, no. Don't tell me what to do based on your feelings. If you want to know what I'm feeling, if you want to know if I'm on the rebound with you, if you want to know any of that, ask me a question. Don't judge me. And let me tell you, Rhonda has been telling this man that you don't let me talk. You don't let me talk about myself. Well, Miss Rhonda, now you're upset that you could have found out more about this ex marriage, this ex relationship, but you don't shut the man up. You see, in one hand, you want to talk. But then on the other hand, all of a sudden you find out some information about the man, and now you getting a little scary. Well, wait a minute. Maybe you should have let him keep talking. Maybe if he were talking more and you allowed him to talk and talk about his life, you would have learned about the ex and you would have learned something about the ex. But now, listen to you, Miss Rhonda. I want you to shut up, let me talk. And then when I find out something about you accidentally or some kind of way, I'm going to judge you for it. No, well, why don't you let me talk and then you'll better understand me? But no, Rhonda, you want to talk. You don't want me to talk. And then you want to come to conclusions about me. No, Miss Rhonda. Then Miss Rhonda had the audacity to say, after talking this whole season about how she want to talk, listen to her. She had the audacity to tell this man, when we get back to Denver, wherever they are, Austin, I don't even know where the heck I am. When we get back to Austin, I'm going to need some quiet time because I'm starting to feel smothered. Smothered by your own words? You getting smothered now? Now you smothered? Oh my goodness. You told this man, I need you to do this, and this. Care about me. Give me more attention. Ask me questions. Have interest in me. And now all of a sudden you say, oh, now I feel smothered by you. Girl. Rhonda's a hot mess. A hot mess. She's over here talking about this man where he says he hasn't lived with a woman in 7 years. Rhonda ain't lived with no one for 25 years. Rhonda said, you know what Rhonda wants? Rhonda needs someone that she can take on and off the shelf. Rhonda's a person where when she wants to talk to you, then okay, you need to talk. When she wants to talk, then you need to listen. Whatever Rhonda wants, you need to be ready, willing, and able to do exactly what she wants. She has no wiggle room for compromise. Rhonda wants what she wants when she wants it, and she needs you to fall in line. And if at 1 o'clock she's cold and she tells you to turn on that heat, if 2 o'clock she's hot, she wants you to turn down that heat. That's how Rhonda is. Rhonda ain't gonna get along with no one, because let me tell you something. People are motivated in the beginning of relationships to accommodate a person that they want to be with, right? Men are really motivated to do it because they want to be with you. But if you don't change your ways and you stay that way, you stay like Rhonda, eventually those people will do like Rhonda's ex-husband did. You see, I'm starting to realize that Rhonda's ex-husband, the one she said that was sitting around not working, no, what that man was, he was on strike. I'm going to tell you right now, that man was on strike because what I believe is that man probably at one point in time was what Rhonda wanted because Rhonda married him. But along the way, that man decided, I'm a quiet quit. Because nothing I do is good enough around here. You see, when you're with a person where nothing is ever good enough, the person is never satisfied, what it teaches you to do is do nothing. That's what it teaches you, right? If you had a mother who was never satisfied sometimes, you either could grow up as a person who's trying to constantly please your mother, but you never get a sense of satisfaction like you pleased your mother. Or what could happen is you realize that your mother can never be pleased. So what you do is you just stop trying. And not only does this happen in parent-child relationships, it also happens in marriage. When you're married to a person who is never pleased with you, who is never happy with you, what you decide to do is, well, I might as well stop doing anything. And what that ex-husband did with Rhonda, I already know it. I don't even need to meet that man. I know right now what that man decided to do was I'ma quit. I'ma quit. Because nothing I do is good enough. And that's where we are with Rhonda. Because all Rhonda cares about are her thoughts, her emotions, how she feels. She gives no consideration to this other man. And am I saying Pat is perfect? No. But we can't even get to Pat because Rhonda's so big in the room. I told you, she takes up all the space in the room. And when you take up all the space in the room, yeah, you're right. You know what ends up happening? You do end up taking up so much space, we can't even see the other person, right? They can't be seen and we can't see them. And right now, Rhonda is doing herself a disservice because we could be all over Pat. We don't know. I'm only on episode 5. But right now, I can't even get to Pat because Rhonda is taking up all the space in the room with her red flags. She thinks she's taking up all the space in the room, telling everybody what to do. But she's taking up all the space in the room with her red flags. But anyway, that was my long introduction on Pat and Rhonda. I'm going to play my introduction video. And when we come back, we're going to have to start talking about some other mother-daughter things that got passed along between Belinda and her daughter, Jalen. I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see what that mama passed on to Jalen. And I'm starting to see some parts Jalen is trying to shed, but she still got parts of that mama. She gonna need to shed it though. Anyway, see y'all in a minute. Okay, well, we are back. And we are going to talk about two couples that are related, Josh and Jalen and Belinda and Chad. And last episode, we saw Jalen say, I don't have no problem signing that prenuptial agreement with Josh. She said, because right now, he about to give me the life I want it. She came on here saying that they grew up completely different. Josh said, I grew up dirt poor. My fun was going out into the yard and throwing rocks. Okay, I learned how to make nature, the outdoors, my entertainment. And Jalen said, well, I grew up privileged. When they was about to go on this boat for the couples retreat, Jalen said, is it going to be a yacht? Because I grew up with a professional baseball player. We grew up playing organized sports. See, Josh, you went out and you had to play stickball. But we were in organized sports. I grew up much differently than you. And what we're learning that okay, Belinda was a stay-at-home mom, right? The daddy paid all the bills, but like I said last time, the daddy paid all the bills and the daddy had all the control in the house too, both. Let's be honest about it. This is what we're dealing with. That daddy had all the control in the house. Belinda didn't have a lot of say-so. She married when she was young. She didn't go to college. She didn't get an education, and she was dependent on that husband for that money. And as a result, the way she describes it, it was almost as if she suffered for 20 years. But the reason she stuck around was for the children. She had to endure that husband, all his cheating and everything, because she wasn't educated. She didn't earn any money. She didn't go to college, and she was dependent on the man. Well, now we got our daughter, Jalen. What Jalen says is, a little bit, it happened to her. Jalen was completely dependent on the father too, just like a child should be. He paid for everything. He even would tell her, go back, take off that makeup, go back, take off that dress. She had to do it. The daddy was calling all the shots. So when Jalen grows up, what Jalen says is, listen, I don't want to be no stay-at-home mama like my mama was. So I don't have no problem signing no prenup, Josh, because what I want to do is I want to earn my own money because I also want to have a level of independence. Uh-oh, I'm starting to find that Jalen gonna have a bit of a problem. I'm seeing it coming already because you see, I think what Jalen's gonna want to do is she's gonna want to take the parts from the mama that she liked. And the parts from the mama's life that Jalen liked was being taken care of by the father and his money. That's fine. But what Jalen is not going to want to do, like her mama, is she not going to want to have to follow all the rules of Josh. This is what I'm predicting so far. I don't know. I don't know. I think Jalen is going to want all the good parts, which are going to be the taken care of. She's saying she don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, but what she also talks about is that she did not have the fortitude, the drive, the consistency to develop her career in the way that she should have in order to be that independent woman. I'm not saying she don't want to be her, but Jalen is giving me vibes that she might not be all the way there financially to be that independent woman she wants to be and not be a stay-at-home mom. You see, it's giving me, I want it, but I didn't take the steps to do it. In a lot of ways, Jalen is trying to be different from her mama, but I'm not for sure right now she's being different from her mama. But she might come with a different tongue than her mama. You see, this is what I'm worried about. Later on, we're going to see that the mama holds her tongue. She's afraid to speak up. She was afraid to tell Chad what she really thought about how Chad showed that mean streak to that producer. She kept her mouth shut, but she cried because it was reminding her when she had to keep her mouth shut with her past husband because her past husband was paying all the bills. Y'all see where I'm going with this. You see where I'm going with this. But anyway, the other part that Jalen picked up from her mama is they both scary. They both don't take risks. Let me tell you something. If you're going to be successful in the world, you got to take risk. You got to go out there. And you can see the difference between Josh and Jalen. The reason Josh is successful in his business, as he said, he grew it to be some kind of, I don't know what he said, 5 million. He got a whole roofing company with a partner. That's why she got to sign a prenup. What Josh said is, I learned to take risks because I was out there in the wild playing stickball, picking up spiders, falling down, getting dirty, getting myself back up. I had to learn how to pick myself up. That's what Josh learned. But Jalen was playing organized sports. She had safety monitors. She had protective gear. And now you get out here with Josh, and Josh is like, dang, we in Panama. You're not going to even jump in the ocean of Panama? When's the next time you're going to be here to be able to swim in the Panama? Josh has constantly tried to ask Jalen, take some risk. Do something outside of yourself. Don't be so scary. And what I believe is Jalen is scary. She's also scary in life. She's scared to take risks, just like her mama. Her mama's told Chad, you think I'm scary. You think I got anxiety. My daughter got it worse than me. Of course she does, because her mama passed it on to her. That's who passed it on to her. Her mama raised her to be scary like she was. She was afraid. That's why that daddy knew he had leverage over her. She lived her life in fear, and she passed it on her to child. And I praise Jalen because one thing Jalen is trying to do is Jalen says, I'm going to get outside my comfort zone. I'm going to jump off this boat. I'm going to do the zip lining. I'm going to do all this stuff. You know why? Because she wants the man. That's why she's doing it. Her motivation is the man. She says, because I realize that he's an outdoors guy. He's an adventurer. He's a risk taker. And I want that man and I want that life. But I'm telling you right now, Jalen, be careful. Be careful. Because also what I think Jalen wants is I think she wants the life. I do think she wants the option to do whatever she wants to work or not work, which is fine. But I think she thinks it's going to come with the option to have a lip, a mouth. And I'm thinking that she's going to be sorely mistaken. That's what I believe. We're going to have to see when time goes on. But that mama of hers, sweet lady, when she saw Chad talk to that producer the way he did and be short with that producer and Kurt, Belinda sat there with her mouth closed because that's what she's learned, which is fine. Like I said, you can have conversations with your husband, but I think she did the right thing, not chastising him at that moment with the producer, but later on having a conversation with him and saying, that's a turnoff. If I see you treat someone else poorly, What that tells me is although you're not treating me poorly right now, it's a coming. It's a coming. You see, and I like that Belinda finally did speak up to Chad, but it took her a minute. She was scared. She was scared that if she speaks up, he would then pull back and move away from her, because that's what that last husband did to Belinda. That last husband bought her silence. And what Belinda says is, I don't want to be silent. I don't want a mean man. And Belinda keeps talking about, I want you to be romantic. I want you to be romantic. And all of us are saying, not all of us, I would say, well, Belinda, you're going to have to be more specific about what romantic is, because Chad is thinking he's being romantic. Chad is saying, I'm buying you gifts. I'm spending time with you. I'm taking you out on plays. And Belinda says, no, I already had a man who could buy me stuff. I already had a man who could buy me tickets to a concert. I already had that. But what I didn't have in that last man is I didn't have anyone who said sweet words to me. And I didn't have any man who didn't give me hugs, affection, and kissing. Even Jalen said she never saw her parents hug and kiss, really. No real affection. So what Belinda is saying, the money is good. Belinda gonna need the money because she's used to the money. But what Belinda wants now is, I want the money, but I want a sweet guy too. I want a guy who's going to hug me and give affection. And what she's hoping for is what she saw in Chad, that little nastiness in Chad. Will he turn it on her? And Chad admitted. He said, normally I'm used to the one barking orders. Well, barking. That's a weird choice of words, Chad, which tells me you do have the propensity to bark at people. What Belinda saw in you, the way you treated that producer, was you. It is you. The question is going to be, can you change, Chad? Can you not bark orders? Because the minute you start barking orders or talking to Belinda in that way, she's going to be triggered. She was already triggered watching you do it with the producers. She's triggered. He tried to clean it up. He said he was sorry. I think he used some really, really nice words. And he really said that he's sorry. He's not going to do it again. And Belinda said, you know what? I'm the type of person where I don't get past apologies quick. And the reason she's become that way is probably because with that ex-husband, he apologized a lot and he never stopped doing it. So after a while, she doesn't believe in apologies. She needs to see it before she accepts the apology. And the only way that Belinda's going to get over this is if all of a sudden Chad doesn't show her any more of this behavior. If he doesn't show her any more of this rude, short behavior, she'll get over it. But he said he wants to create a safe space for her, that she should be able to come to him and talk to him. I hope so, Chad. I hope that you can carve out that space where Belinda can come and be safe with you, because she has trauma from her first marriage, the way that man probably talked to her and treated her. And although she does want a provider in terms of the money, she also gonna need a man who don't talk to her in that type of way. We shall see. We shall see what's going on. And then we had to go over here and we had to have a little bit of time with Megan and Derek. And they're sitting all silent in the car because Megan is still mad that Derek said, you don't ask me any questions. So you mean to tell me we on the water, I asked you to ask me some questions. We're in the car and you still ain't asked me no questions? Why, Megan? Megan, why can't you ask any questions? And now Derek is over here saying he feels guilty because she's upset. But Derek got to understand, well, should I feel guilty? What's wrong with me wanting Megan to engage with me in a certain kind of way, right? But Megan is over here using her anger to what? Shoo Derek away on this topic of conversation. Megan over here talking about how she felt ambushed. And she says she's not used to anyone holding her accountable. And she's uncomfortable in these kind of conversations. I said that mama was going to come back and show up in Megan. And we are starting to see the effects of a mama like Megan's, the effect it's starting to have on Megan. And Megan says she's an avoider. She shuts down. Well, of course you're going to shut down when you got a mama like that, just like Rhonda's kids shut down. I'm telling you, when you are the type of person that's got to have it your way, that takes up all the space in the room. What people learn to do around you is shut down, not talk, avoid you. And here is Megan coming into a relationship with Derek. And because she doesn't get what she wants, or she isn't feeling the way she wants to feel, she is shutting down. Shutting down is a form of almost even like a passive aggressiveness, because you're not aggressive enough to confront the person, right? And have the conversation, but passively, you are actually pushing aside that person, ignoring them. It's the same look, Megan. Just like your mama probably disregarded you, you doing the same thing. It's a form of disregarding a person. And then Derek is over here lying to the group, talking about they're doing well. You're not doing well, Derek. You're only doing well when Megan is getting what she wants. The minute you ask for something, Derek, Megan is teaching you, if you ask for something I don't want to give you, it's going to be a problem. But if you only ask for things I want to give you, all is going to be well. And they got on this conversation about kids. And Derek said he wants 2 to 3. And Megan says she's afraid to have children. What are you afraid to have children for, Megan? She says she's afraid of the pain. No, it's not. You're afraid because what you don't want to be is you don't want to be a mother like your mama. That's why you're afraid. You're afraid because your feelings, your emotions around motherhood are tied to your emotions with your mother, and they're not good emotions. So you're not embracing motherhood as much as you think. You think you want a child, but you're afraid. You're not afraid of the pain. You're not afraid of the pain. You're afraid of, can I be a different mama than my mother? Because I don't want to mess up my kids like my mama has messed me up. Oh, Megan, I know what I'm dealing with in you. I know what I'm dealing with in you. And let me tell you, we're going to move on to Brittany and Will. And Brittany and Will, honestly, y'all, I thought that I would have the biggest problem with Will. But here we are once again on an episode. And I'm telling you, Will seemed way more reasonable than Brittany did. And I know y'all are talking about Will took sex off the table. It wasn't just because Brittany was trying to raw dog it. Because I think what Will saw was what I'm starting to see. And that is, you better move slow with Brittany. You know, Brittany was willing to raw dog it last episode. And I don't know if Brittany said, well, we can be intimate, but now still use protection. I haven't heard that. I haven't heard Brittany offer an alternative. So now what I hear is Will saying, well, hey, if the only way that you can feel close to someone is through intimate sex, then Will is saying that's a red flag for me. Because Will has said the way I connect with a person is mentally. That's what he said. And Brittany, the only way you want to connect with me is through sex. So what Will is doing, Will is saying, I'm taking sex off the table to make you connect with me more mentally. You see, a lot of times women do this to men. Women take sex off the table for the man because they want to connect with that man first mentally. See, this is a reverse. This is a reverse. But Will is saying, I'm a sapiosexual. I've been telling everybody I like to connect mentally first. And now that I know that Brittany doesn't want to connect mentally, she just wants to connect through swapping semen and fluids. Oh, I'm taking that off the table. I'm taking it off the table. But what is Brittany doing? Is she trying to connect mentally, or is she still pushing the sex? What's she doing? And to me, she's still pushing the sex because she wants what she wants. And what she needs to try to do is they both need to start giving each other what each other needs. If the roles were reversed and we had here a woman who is saying, I don't want to have sex with you until we can connect emotionally, but a man is saying, I need to connect, the way I connect to you emotionally is through sex, you got a standoff. You see, that's what Whitney and Brill have right now. They have a standoff because Brittany is actually the person saying the connection, the validation I need, the way I feel close to you is through intimacy. And the way that Will is saying is the way I feel close is through the connection of the mind. But since we both not getting what we want, we both not going to give what we want. What y'all going to do? Rock, paper, scissors? Rock, paper, scissors? Somebody going to have to go first. What you going to do at the same exact time? Maybe you ought to go in the bedroom and have sex, and at the same time having sex, ask some deep personal questions. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know what to tell you. But right now, Brittany is saying, I want sex, I want intimacy because I didn't see it with my parents and I need to have that in a relationship. And I want it now, even though, Will, I have not fully satisfied your requirement for deep conversation. And what Will is saying is, you haven't satisfied my rules, my need for deep conversations. And so I'm not feeling I want to give you the sex because I ain't connected to you yet. That's what's going on. It's a standoff. Like I said, I don't know what to do. Go to a conference room, have sex on the table, and at the same time, have some deep conversation. Y'all better figure it out. You better figure it out. The other part Brittany said was that Will doesn't want to talk to her, and he's distant, and he doesn't want to have sex. You see, because when Will is on camera, he actually doesn't seem like he doesn't want to talk. He actually doesn't seem like he's distant. He has said on camera that right now he doesn't think they should be intimate. But the part that Brittany said was that you don't want to talk and you're distant is telling me that maybe off camera, Will is a different type of person, which means, is Will performing for the camera? Is he trying to pretend that he's lovey-dovey and he's all into Brittany, but then when the cameras go away, he's actually silent and he's distant? You see, does he withdraw? And I can see that part of Will, right? Because there's something about Will from the very beginning that when I first saw him, I said, oh, he's an antagonist. He's an antagonist. And he likes to probably get in verbal joust. But then these last couple of episodes, Will has been kind. He's been thoughtful. He's been considerate. So right now, and I'm going to tell you, I feel like I'm seeing two different Wills. And I don't know which Will is the real Will. I don't know if we're dealing with a Will off camera and a Will on camera. And what it's doing is messing up Brittany's mind. Because in one way, he's saying, well, I just want to have sex. But Brittany's saying, no, this is bigger than not having sex because you're all so distant and you don't want to talk. And Brittany is saying, I do ask you questions. And Will is saying, no, you don't. You don't ask me questions. You see, I think that we're getting two versions of a story, but right now we don't know who's telling the truth, because I think what the producers are doing right now is they aren't showing us some footage of Will. They're not showing us some footage of Will, but eventually they're going to have to show it. So what are we dealing with Brittany and Will? I don't even think we know completely. Do they both have issues? They definitely have issues, but right now I don't think that we're seeing all of Will. I believe there may be something that they're hiding. Right? I think that this not having sex with Brittany is more than I don't want to have it because of the whole no condom thing. I think Brittany may be using her intuition correctly and that there's more. But that still doesn't mean that some of the requests coming from Brittany to constantly push the sex is what she should be doing. I don't think so. I think she needs to look at something else, because I remember very early on, I said, is Will really attracted to Brittany? And he seems like he is. He's lovey-dovey. He's I don't know, PDA. He kissed her on that castle and it was a passionate kiss. But I just want to make sure, Will, all of this isn't performing for the cameras to look good. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. But that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. So join me next time we'll be on episode 6 next time. See you soon. Bye.